Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Wild Classroom. So today we are answering a surprisingly tricky question: who discovered aquaculture? So most people expect a single name, but the truth is richer. Aquaculture was invented many times in different places by different cultures for different reasons. So in this lecture I will walk you through the oldest evidence, the first written manuals, the ancient engineering marvels, and the modern breakthroughs that shaped fish farming today. Dear students, today's lecture is very special because we are going to explore the history of aquaculture, who discovered it, when it started, and how it became the billion-dollar industry we see today. So, aquaculture is not new. In fact, it is one of the world's oldest farming practice. So, let's go on a journey back in time. So, before we go into history or modern systems, let's first understand what this word really means, what aquaculture means. So, aquaculture means raising aquatic organisms under human control. So, this includes fish, shellfish like oysters and shrimp, and also aquatic plants like seaweed. So, just like agriculture means farming crops and animals on land, aquaculture means farming in water. So, let's break the word. Aqua mean water, it's a Latin word, and culture mean cultivation or growing. So literally aquaculture mean growing things in water. Students often confuse aquaculture with fishing, but dear students, fishing mean catching whatever nature provides in rivers, lakes and seas. On the other hand, aquaculture means humans create and manage ponds, cages, tanks, or sea farms to raise fish under controlled conditions. So, this is a very big difference. Aquaculture is planned and managed, fishing is wild and uncontrolled. While the term only appears in 19th century, the practice goes back thousands of years. In Neolithic China, approximately 6000 to 5000 BCE, common carp managed in ponds. In ancient Egypt, till 4000 BCE, Nile tilapia farmed in constructed ponds, and in Rome till 100 CE, Romans described oyster and mullet farming in coastal lagoons. So, students, this shows that humans practiced aquaculture millennia before they named it. So today, aquaculture is a global industry that produces over 50% of the world's seafood supply, according to FAO 2022 report. So uses advanced systems such as recirculating aquaculture systems. I already explained about recirculating aquaculture systems in my previous lectures, and also offshore cages and integrated multi-trophic aquaculture. So covers both freshwater species like tilapia, catfish, carp, and marine species like shrimp, salmon, oysters, and seaweeds. So it is now considered a key solution for global food security as captured fisheries. Now let's discuss the earliest evidence of aquaculture. Students, when we talk about the beginnings of aquaculture, we need to travel thousands of years back in history, long before the word aquaculture was even invented. The roots of this practice lie in ancient civilization, where people first realized they could control water and fish instead of relying only on luck with fishing. So, let's discuss about the Neolithic China, approximately 6000 to 5000 BCE. Archaeological findings, researchers from the Max Planck Institute have studied ancient fish ponds from settlements in China. These ponds revealed a unique harvesting pattern. Most medium-sized carp were caught, very small and very large carp were left behind. So why this is important? In normal fishing, people just catch whatever gets trapped. But here they were selectively harvesting. So by leaving small fish to grow and large fish to breed, they were managing the carp population. So this is the fingerprints of early fish farming. It shows that 8000 years ago, people in China were not just fishing, they were practicing aquaculture. Now let's move towards ancient Egypt till 4000 BCE, tilapia ponds. So historical sources suggest that Egyptians built ponds near the Nile to raise tilapia. because tilapia is hardy, grows fast, and reproduces easily. So, hieroglyphs and wall paintings even depict fish ponds and tilapia offsprings. So, this proves that aquaculture was not a single invention in one place. It arose independently in different river civilizations, so wherever human had the right conditions. Students, why this matters? The key conclusion is there is no single inventor of aquaculture. In China, carp were being managed in ponds by 6000 BCE. In Egypt, tilapia were being raised in ponds by 4000 BCE. So, aquaculture, like agriculture, developed naturally in several parts of the world. Humans everywhere realized that managing fish in controlled water bodies gave them a reliable food sources. Students, by 475 BCE, farming and irrigation were already central to Chinese life. People were not only cultivating crops but also beginning to manage aquatic life. So, what makes this period unique is that knowledge was not just passed orally, it was written down. So, that is why we talk about Fan Li. So, who was Fan Li? Fan Li, a Chinese statesman, philosopher, and strategist in the spring and autumn period around 475 BCE. So, beyond politics, he is remembered for writing Yang Yu Jing, translated as the Classic of Fish Culture or Treatise of Fish Culture. So, this makes Fan Li the first documented author of aquaculture knowledge. So, students, what did Fan Li teach? The text is short but practical. It gives instructions that sound surprisingly modern. Pond layout, how to design ponds in relation to water sources, then water quality, advice on keeping ponds clean and well flowing, then brood stock selection, choosing the best carp for breeding, then breeding and fry care, how to handle eggs, fry and growing stages, then feeding, early notes on providing food to fish in ponds. So this shows that over 2400 years ago, people were already thinking about the same issues that farmers manage today. So, later developments in China, other Chinese texts describe moving carp fry in bamboo baskets, which is an early method of seed transport. They also describe rice fish culture, combining rice farming with fish rearing in the same field, which improved both rice yields and fish production. So, this was an early form of integrated aquaculture. So, something the world is trying to perfect again today. So, students, why this matter? Fan Li Yang Yu Jing is the earliest known aquaculture manual in the world. It proves that aquaculture was not trial and error, it was already a planned, managed science in 5th century BCE China. So for students, this tells us that the roots of aquaculture are very deep, combining philosophy, agriculture, and environmental management. So for the key references for you are Wikipedia and the Springer link, which include academic references or ancient Chinese fish farming, then Barnstable County extension notes on aquaculture history, and oceanfoods.org information on early rice fish culture in China. So my question for you is, what do you think is the biggest difference between what Fan Li taught and modern aquaculture practices? So must answer this question. Students, we have already learned that aquaculture did not begin in just one place. Different civilizations living near rivers, seas, and coasts developed their own methods for raising aquatic life. So this shows that aquaculture is not just an Asian invention but a global tradition. So let's talk about Romans. The ancient Romans were famous for their engineering skills like roads, aqueducts, and also aquaculture. So by the 1st century BCE, they were farming oysters in coastal lagoons. They built controlled marine enclosures, stone or wooden barriers where seawater flowed in but oysters stayed inside. And elite Romans loved oysters so much that they even shipped them long distances, packed in water and seaweed to serve at banquets. So this shows the early connection between luxury markets and aquaculture. So students, Romans were not just feeding themselves, they were running a business. So now let's talk about native Hawaiians. Across the Pacific, Hawaiians developed different models, the Loko IA or coastal fish ponds. So these were stone-walled enclosure built along the coast. Ocean's water entered through sluice gates, makaha, carrying in small fish but preventing large ones from escaping. Dear students, now let's move from tradition to modern science. So fast forward to the 19th and 20th century, as the term aquaculture enters dictionaries in the 1860s, scientists begin merging traditional practices with biology, genetics, nutrition, and engineering. So let's discuss the two giant leaps. First one is induced breeding. In 1957, Dr. Hiralal Chaudhuri and colleagues perfected induced breeding of Indian carps, hypophysation, making seed supply reliable and launching Asia's freshwater aquaculture boom, often termed a foundation of the blue revolution in the subcontinents. Then second giant leaps is global principles and practice. T.V.R. Pillay became one of the most influential figures in modern aquaculture through research, FAO leadership, and the classic textbook aquaculture, like principles and practices. So he is widely recognized as a pioneer of modern aquaculture development. So students, these advances together with water quality science, formulated seeds, disease control, and engineering transformed aquaculture into today's high-tech global food system. Dear students, these advances, together with water quality science, formulated feeds, disease control, and engineering, transformed aquaculture into today's high-tech global food system. So the student, the answer of question who discovered aquaculture is no single person. The practice evolved independently in several places, with Neolithic China providing the earliest strong evidence, then finally giving us the oldest surviving manual, the Romans refining shellfish culture, and Hawaiians building sophisticated fish ponds, and modern scientists like Chaudhuri and Pillay turning it into a science-driven industry. So why this matters today? So understanding the origin of aquaculture helps you see why methods differ. Pond carp in Asia, shellfish wrecks in Europe, coastal fish ponds in the Pacific, and why local ecology and culture still shape farming choices. So it also shows how science plus tradition build the industry we rely on today for food security and blue economy jobs. Dear students, if this helped you see aquaculture's real story, please like, share, and subscribe. In the next lecture, I will show how these historical ideas shaped modern pond and RAS design with practical takeaway for your farm. So thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.